if you as a viewer are watching all these other channels and looking at all these other sources, that all they do is they wait until it starts trending. By that point, you're behind the ball. If everyone knows about it now, you're late. You're late to the party. So we've been so early on these things.
It undermines you. That's where each individual should really take into consideration what is going on here, right?
If you're locked to this channel, man, you're getting this info years in advance. And we have just another example of that again today that just broke. Things we've been saying for the past year. A 343 Industries developer admitting, based on player feedback, this morning we deployed an update to the ranked playlist in Halo Infinite to match players based on CSR rather than hidden MMR. This should promote a more upfront and transparent ranked experience. Bro, not only did we just make a video about this in relation to Call of Duty, talking about their ranked MMR being hidden. We just talked about this 12 days ago, and now we have a 343 Industries developer admitting that they do that in the ranked mode, that your bronze, silver, gold, platinum doesn't matter, has nothing to do with who you're getting matched with, has nothing to do with your matchmaking algorithm. Instead, they're doing a underhanded thing with the matchmaking algorithm that you can't see what's going on, and they're going back on it because people have finally caught up to noticing this and catching on to this. It's insane, dude.
Hashi basically manages the entire esports scene for Halo, and he does that from his position at 343. We know that 343 and Microsoft are very involved in the management and operations of the esports scene for Halo and how the HCS and the tournaments and the league is ran. I think this is funny because we did a test of this over a year ago now, and we experienced this for ourselves and got quite a bit of data on why are we on bronze accounts after playing well for 2 or 3 matches in a row playing against platinum and diamond players. It was very apparent that this was happening. The rank you see on the screen, your CSR as they call it, is not your actual indication of skill or what impacts who you match against and what kind of gameplay experience you have. It's based on this hidden MMR system that obviously they blatantly acknowledge exists. I take issue with this because it says this should promote a more upfront and transparent ranked experience. Well, why weren't you focused on an upfront and transparent experience a year and 3 months ago? Where was that in November of 2021? Why weren't you interested in being transparent with the community then? In a reply to this tweet, you also said, we'll monitor feedback and performance and, make sure that when the ranks reset next week, which thank God they are, because this is really going to shake up everyone's experience match to match now that they added this update today. They're like, oh, well, thanks for, helping with all the teams at 343 to make this highly requested update happen. Why did it have to be requested in the first place? This infrastructure and this system of ranked matchmaking has been in place since Halo 2. You guys have had this stuff. You've had TrueSkill 2. How old is the patent on TrueSkill 2? It's always been on the table for them to do. And yet for some reason, now they're interested after, I'm assuming thousands of people have asked, hey, why aren't you guys matching us fairly and giving us a rank system indicative of our actual skill, as evidenced by our bronze accounts getting put into diamond, Onyx, platinum lobbies? How am I ever supposed to climb out of bronze when I'm playing against diamond and Onyx players, for example, right? I just find it interesting that they're talking about this like it's a good thing, I mean, I guess from a certain perspective, they have finally fixed it. Why did thousands of people have to ask for that? Why do you want to be transparent now? You have Unicheck, the community manager for Halo, talking about it like it's a good thing and like everyone should be happy and celebrate this and be thankful that they made the change, as if like they didn't deserve this in November of 2021. I'm really interested to see how this shakes things up. Now that they've changed it, you're gonna have people whose MMR is mid at best, right? Mid MMR that are in Diamond, that are in Onyx, because they've been playing against people commensurate with their MMR and climbing up to Diamond and Onyx. And now they're gonna go into lobbies tomorrow or today, and they're gonna play against people in Onyx division, and they're going to get slapped in the mouth because they're not supposed to be there.
Or you're going to see people actually start to climb up a lot easier because the people who are good, they're all like struggling, like over on COD, they're struggling in like bronze and silver lobbies. They're like spending all night just trying to climb out of bronze because they're hidden MMR. They're all getting matched with like really good people, even at a bronze level. So bronze feels like diamond, to them, and blah, blah, blah. So what we're going to see also is the good players, they're actually going to start to rise up in the ranks accordingly to their skill, as opposed to before where they were kind of handicapped at a lower ceiling and it looked like they were worse because of those divisions. So we're going to actually see this complete flip probably for a lot of different players. Keep an eye out for a lot of these streamers and YouTubers and big content creators that have been pub starring pretty hard lately, and just see, like, keep a little tab on them, see where they're at in a few months, because now you're actually going to be held to a standard that is true and allegedly. I would find it impressive if they would mess this up somehow, but it is 343, so it's possible. Make no mistake, what you're about to see take place is a rude awakening for everybody who has been mismatched into these different divisions in this a fake ranking system in Halo Infinite, and it's fake in Call of Duty. It might not actually be fake in Valorant. That one might actually be real. Apex might actually be real as well. Maybe. But it's also interesting because you have a developer who is openly admitting that there was hidden variables at play that were affecting the entire player base, especially in what was touted as a competitive setting, which is disgusting. Honestly, that should be disgusting. If you're into competitive at all, that should just be the biggest, most disgusting red flag to you, that this game, this AAA game, Halo, which was, for especially console FPS, is one of the most competitive games, pretty much founded MLG, and esports as we know it wouldn't be what it is if it weren't for Halo. This franchise was using this underhanded, disgusting, hidden MMR to trick players into thinking they were good or bad or whatever they wanted so that they could increase retention, blah, 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 blah. I'm not surprised, because we knew this, because we ran the experiments a year ago as soon as Ranked came out for Halo Infinite, and we knew this was the case. So I'm not surprised. And we looked at we're constantly looking at the numbers, constantly looking at the whole scoreboards, comparing every single player. We're even using Halo Waypoint and double checking everything, looking at different players' match histories. I think we did it a little bit on stream even. That was all the way back in January, and we were looking at everything very closely. Every player we matched with, what their divisions were, what their KDs were, what their performance was across the board. And it was just so clear. It was clear as day, bro. And the even crazier thing is what Tashi doesn't mention here. When he says hidden MMR, that hidden MMR is an MMR that's calculated based on your performance across the game.
Not just in Ranked, in Quick Play, and Fiesta, and Big Team Battle. That hidden MMR spans the entire game. And it's funny because, you mentioned there are hidden variables at play. In reality, the only variables at play are hidden from you. The entire matchmaking system was banked on that hidden MMR. There was no component of the matchmaking system that was revealed or transparent to you or was within your control to understand and adjust to. Your entire Ranked experience from December of 2021 to now has basically been a facade of how they've manipulated the matchmaking to generate the experience that they think will retain the most people and get the most people to stay on the game, playing the game, to hopefully translate to money spent on microtransactions, additional content, season passes, whatever the case may be. It's just crazy. I mean, I hope that at least the matchmaking experience improves after this and you get closer to what you had in Halo 3. Like, I get in lobbies now and I have Onyxes and Diamond 6s on my team in Halo Infinite that go 8 and 33. I don't recall that being a thing in Halo 3, right? When I got in a lobby as a 50 and my teammates were 50s, I knew they were going to be good.
I mean, to me, it's unforgivable. I don't understand how there could even possibly be a shred of trust for 343 as a developer at this point after everything that's happened with this absolute show of a game that they have put out that is Halo Infinite. I also don't think it's a coincidence that they waited so long. It's, March of 2023. The game's been out since November 2021. So that's a long time to wait to leave things the way they were, allow it to run its course, allow you to make your money if you're Microsoft in 343 using these nefarious practices. And then once the player base starts dwindling enough and you stop making as much money off of it, well, maybe now it's time to alter that and finally fix it and make it the way it should be. Since we've made our money, it did what it needed to do and ran its course. I don't think that that's a coincidence either. So make no mistake, even this move to be more transparent about it and fix it is not in the interest of being transparent and being player first and trying to make a good experience for the player. They've calculated that this is the best business move for the sake of their profits and the game's playability to keep people on the game. And this is also, by the way, I think in a response to, there's a big thing in the esports and competitive scene across the board for all games right now, not just Halo, but esports is taking a bit of a hit right now. A lot of orgs are shutting down. They're figuring out that it's gonna be very hard to do well financially and turn a profit as an esports organization, and a lot of them are disbanding, or a lot of them are downsizing in their staff and different things like that. And I think this is a response to that shift right now in the industry, and I think that they are trying to make it a more habitable environment for esports, for Halo to survive. This is exactly part of the reason why esports and the competitive scenes have been suffering, is because things like this have existed, like hidden MMR in your competitive ranked modes. These things undermine the trust and the competitive integrity of these modes and of these entire gameplay experiences across the board, right? So you don't think that has any effect on esports taking a hit right now? You don't think that has any effect on people tuning out of esports and that scene, or
Absolutely.
people leaving who are competitors because
Mm-hmm.
they're fed up with it? You think it's a coincidence Scump retired this year? Do you think that's a coincidence? Okay.
But now take this into consideration. How does this impact and reinforce your casual or your social matchmaking experience? Because now we know that the hidden MMR infrastructure remains in the game, remains online for them, and it's the only utility they have, but it's not being used in ranked anymore. So where is it being used? Now you have this hidden MMR exclusively being used in casual playlists, in quick play, big team battle, social free for all, Fiesta Slayer. This is where the hidden MMR is now being used because it's the only utility that it has left. If what they're saying is actually true, and you're being match made now solely based on CSR, think about how much that is going to impact Halo when you're just trying to come home and play with some buddies, and maybe you don't feel like having your headset at max volume. Maybe you don't feel like trying really hard. Maybe you don't feel like calling out. The hidden MMR is still there, and it's still going to be impacting your gameplay experience.
That's a really, really good point, because this means that this hidden MMR is only going to be used in stuff that there shouldn't be MMR in. There
Exactly.
shouldn't be a ranking system in Fiesta Slayer.
Exactly.
There shouldn't be any algorithm of who's good and who's not in big team battle, where I'm flying around in a Banshee messing around with my friends. It's absurd. This is also what 343 does, is that they will, and every dev does this too. I mean, they're saying this, but what are they reading between the lines? They're saying a lot more.
Yep.
Because they're saying, yes, skill-based matchmaking exists in Halo Infinite, confirmed. Yes, skill-based matchmaking exists in casual, extremely casual game modes like Big Team Battle and Fiesta Slayer. Look, you shouldn't be excited for Infection to come out, because you're going to be playing ranked Infection essentially when it comes out. You're going to be held to a standard of who camped in a corner with a shotgun the longest. That's not cool at all. That's not fun. I can't have fun on a game where I am literally at all times being calculated mathematically how my performance is going and determining what my experience is about to be, positive or negative, simply because I decided to play a little more casually for a game or two in casual, unranked game modes, quote unquote. It's ridiculous, dude. I don't understand how anybody can even spend a minute on this game at this point. What little modicum of fun you may extract from this horrific clusterfuck of a game that they've made is that it might be completely manufactured. It might just be completely faked. The Forge playlist, playing on like maps that nobody probably play tested at 343 to make sure they're actually like balanced matchmaking setting. I'm sure the Forge matchmaking playlist of player made maps has hidden MMR. Does that sound like that makes sense?
It undermines the trust, it undermines the community, and it undermines you. It undermines you. That's where each individual should really take into consideration what is going on here, right? And that's what's funny, and that's what I really get from this, right? Because this tweet's 2 sentences long, and you have all this to extrapolate from it. Is now all I'm hearing is you have 2 separate, dedicated, skill-based matchmaking algorithms in place, one for ranked and one for casual. Like, that's basically what it is. Is now you have 2 different MMR systems in place that are still going to ensure that your experience is as manufactured as possible, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, the ranked side of things with the CSR, that's definitely the better experience, right? Because when you go into ranked and you climb and you actively play and try to increase your rank, you're looking for that, right? You're expecting that experience. That's what you want out of it, is to play people in the same skill as you. But that's the thing, is it's up to the agency of the person. The player should be able to choose. Do they want to play people of their skill, or do they just want to get into a match and whatever experience they have is whatever experience they have? It's completely randomly match made. There's good people in the lobby. There's bad people in the lobby. If they don't like it, they back out and search again. If they like it, they stay and keep playing, you know? And that's the problem, is that now there's just double the amount of infrastructure in place to take the option away from the player, to take the experience and the agency of the player away, so that they have no control whatsoever over their experience. It's no longer in your hands. You should get to choose, and that was the beauty of Halo 3, is that you could choose. Did you want to play ranked or did you want to play social? And the matchmaking experience that you had was in your hands. Now it's done for you. You don't get a say in it anymore. And clearly, from this tweet right here, not having a say in it has been really bad, because they have not only taken the decision away from you, but then in their hands made the wrong one.
It's inexcusable, and it's just another example of 343 making the wrong decisions. I mean, at every turn when they've had a decision to make involving Halo as an entire franchise, they've always made the wrong decision. They're
never consistent.
They have it. If nothing else, they are consistent at making the wrong play every single time, like clockwork. It is impressively bad.
I remember a time when everyone wanted to play ranked because everyone wanted to play against pro players, and everyone wanted to try and like be that highest rank and get known, and everyone wanted to compete. And now it's like, it doesn't feel accessible. There's nothing about esports or the competitive scene that is in any way accessible to the spectator, right? The spectator no longer has a vested interest, I feel like, in watching, because there's no avenue, there's no infrastructure in place to allow them to be involved any further than just watching the events on YouTube or Twitch, and then playing the playlist and getting into whatever predetermined algorithmic, artificial experience they're going to have based on their stats and the stats of the people in their match-made game. So it's like, it undermines you as the person playing the game and spending your time doing this.
It also doesn't help that, in my opinion, I think that a lot of the focus is coming off of these competitors, and it's shifting to, look, even if you are a competitor, if you're not streaming, if you're not making content, if you're not trying to be a big personality in the space, these devs in the game, it doesn't care about you as much, and the viewers don't care as much either. If the viewership isn't in esports and it's on these guys who are just playing like essentially, frankly, a casual mode like a Warzone or something, and they're getting twice to 5 times, 10 times as many views as an entire esports tournament for that game, then what are you going to do? Who are you going to focus your attention on if you're the publisher and the developer, you know?
And then you put that on top of the fact that like the game is not good either. Like it's dry, there's hardly any content. Like it just didn't land. There's no hype around it because most of the player base is gone. There's no sense of community because of the MMR and the matchmaking system, to where there is no fun, social, random aspect to the matches that you get in. Guys, we talked about this stuff a year and a half ago. We talked about the Halo Battle Royale 2-3 years ago. Now it's been removed from Infinite, as being created as its own game now. Apparently it's alleged to be called Tatanka, Halo Tatanka. Guys, we are always years ahead of this stuff. We have been around, we've done this stuff, we've been involved, we have experience in the scene, we know what these publishers, what these developers are doing. It's very easy to see the evidence, to see the trends, and predict what's going to happen next. So if you guys want to get a leg up and be a step ahead on this stuff and really know what's going on, subscribe to the channel. Keep catching up with us. Join the Discord. Like, see the stuff that we've got going on and the stuff that we're involved in, the things we talk about, because a lot of the stuff, it's not just happening, it's happening to you by design of these publishers and these gaming corporations, and people don't realize it. And it's really crazy that you have so much going on and it doesn't even get accepted as a legitimate happening until years later, if taken seriously at all. So, I mean, what else do I say?
I'm sick of being so early and then, oh, it's not trending yet, so then people don't want to listen. And until someone like Critical makes a video saying, oh, Halo Infinite, it's actually pretty bad, 343 is a pretty terrible developer, then it's a valid opinion all of a sudden. Do you want to be involved in groupthink? Do you want to be involved in only believing something just because a bunch of other people already believe it and you're late to the party? Or do you want to be early? Do you want to be a trendsetter? Do you want to be on that train? Because that's where we're at over here on this channel with every video we've been making. We're gonna keep doing that. Like, make no mistake, we're not hopping on any bandwagon anytime soon. We're not in it for quick views. We're here for the long haul. We've been here since day one. That's how we know all this stuff, and we're not going anywhere. So you guys, you know, I know people they'll catch on soon enough. And if you want to get on the train now, I highly recommend it. Like I said, you can either figure this stuff out, find out that you're being lied to in Halo Infinite years in advance and be early on it and be ahead of the curve, or you can be late and not know what's going on. We're going to keep doing our thing over here and keep it locked to Game Gains, this channel. We're on everything, everywhere you can get podcasts, everywhere on YouTube. I mean, we got it cornered. I'm trying to hook up some interviews with some of these high profile people doing some crazy stuff in the space. I'm always in the DMs. I'm talking to a lot of people right now on Twitter trying to set stuff up. So we're always working on stuff in the background too, trying to line stuff up, and we're always doing our due diligence and our research and everything like that as well. We don't say a thing if we haven't thought it through, if we aren't sure about it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't just fire off the hip. Like, we really think about these things before we put them out and make sure everything's on the up and up. I just don't want to see people get blindsided by this kind of info when it's been in front of us the whole time we've been saying it, and like, you know what I mean? We don't have to find out that way. We shouldn't have to find out and wait until someone like Tashi, until these companies decide we're allowed to know. Now we're allowed to know because it's financially good for them, for us to know. No. Don't wait for that. Don't do it on their terms. Just hear us out a little bit and see where we're going with it. And, you know, you're not going to be held to whatever these companies want you to think. You'll be thinking for yourself, you know what I mean? And doing your own thing. So